Let's see. Hi, can you hear me? Can you see me? It's working okay. How
Absolutely.
are you, my love? Everybody give a thumbs up or some rainbows if you can see myself, my special guest. Everybody say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. All
On.
right, for anyone tuning in, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself so we can all, of course, but so we can all get to know you a little bit better.
Absolutely. My name is Rafael Silva. I currently play Officer Carlos Reyes on 911 Lone Star.
That is amazing. We're so happy to have you here. I'm excited to chat with you today. I'm very, very excited for this. Are you happen to be sipping your Pride cocktail today?
I happen, but mine is a little bit PG-13 right now. It's just what we call café con leche, which
Oh,
is
okay. Oh,
a little bit of coffee and a little bit of milk.
very familiar. I had that all morning. Pride's a very long day, long month. I'm having my little seltzer. It's very weak, but on ice. She's a queen. She has to stay hydrated in every
She
way she can.
deserves it. Deserves it.
Well, cheers to you. I have a couple questions for you that I'd like to ask you that are pride related, if you don't mind. I'm gonna back up a tittles because I'm 5'6" and I don't fit in any cameras. So,
You look
is it
absolutely
okay?
gorgeous.
Is it okay if we do talk a little pride talk with you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
My first question for you is, in your own words, what does pride mean to you?
Ooh. Uh,
A little loaded question, but
yeah. You
gotta
know,
go within.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whenever people ask me that question, I can go like, "Oh, it means X, Y, and Z," but I always tend to just be very deep about things. But I just, for me, celebrating Pride is not only celebrating the present moment, and the opportunities that we have today, and the doors that we can walk through today, and the places that we can be and thrive in today. But I think it's also paying homage and respect to everyone who could not in the past and were at the front lines to make that happen. It's extremely difficult to be the very first one to stand up for what you believe in, because when you're the very first one, you're often criticized. People don't understand you. People don't want you. They don't like you. And but eventually, when you keep walking your path and you keep shining your light, eventually, when you keep focusing on being the light for yourself, if you happen to look back, you'll see that you've actually been guiding rather than walking by yourself. And I think that that's been the truth about the LGBTQIA plus community, the Black community, Latinx, Asian, Indigenous community. Uh,
Absolutely.
this community expands beyond our imagination and beyond our experience. So for me, Pride means a celebration of our differences that actually unites us and makes us, um, um, it just makes us, it makes us realize that even though we might have differences, we're all the same and we're all beautiful because of that.
Not that beautiful answer. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that pride, it's super important. It's a time to celebrate especially not only yourself, just to celebrate your community. I mean, I never would have thought growing up. Honestly, my hometown where I was born just had their first ever Pride parade, and just for myself to be able to step in there, see, high school teachers that I had, and just see a community
Yeah.
come together just for one common cause. That it was just such a beautiful thing. I just think
Where are you from,
it's
Eric?
such a nice.
Where are
Huh?
you, where are you from?
I am from South Jersey. I live in Jersey, East
Shut
Coast.
up. Where are you in Jersey?
It's Cherry Hill, South Jersey. Yeah.
I grew up in East Brunswick.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
choices. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Yeah, no, well, Haddon Township had their first ever Pride Parade this year. It was just such an honor to walk in it. It was a very overwhelming feeling. It was surreal. So we're gonna
Congratulations.
ask you.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you the next question. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. When you started your career, how was the industry in relation to the LGBTQ community?
Oh, well, I must say that I'm quite a novice at the industry. 911 Lone Star being my very first legitimate or it provided me a bigger platform than before. So I think for me, the experience of arriving at this industry has been rather a learning experience and awareness, and growing my awareness, and growing and just trying to understand where I am and how people see me and how people understand me. I think the biggest learning lesson for me is to really just be myself, regardless
Absolutely.
of where we are in the conversation and in this fight, because I feel like as we start to get more people from different points of view, different walks of life into this industry, I think we tend to progress, but we also, I think, obstacles and impediments also tend to adapt as we adapt to the fight. So it gets a little bit more sophisticated, and it gets a little bit more, we perpetuate this conversation. The conversation is never ending, right? So for me, it's been a learning experience, as that people see me a certain way, that people categorize me in a certain way. And as long as I understand where I'm coming from with my intention, and spreading more love and more kindness rather than division, I think I think that would be a more resourceful and powerful action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now, my next question for you is, what has been one of your greatest takeaways from playing Carlos on 911 Lone Star?
Uh, what,
Greatest takeaway.
yeah.
Another very loaded question.
Okay, that's okay. I think it's there are so many things, but I would say that Carlos represents people that I couldn't imagine would represent. I think a lot of people gravitate towards Carlos and towards his heart, independently of what he looks like. Carlos is he's a gay cisgender man who is Latinx and Texan and a cop. And but at the end of the day, he's still a human being, right? He's just a human being that happens to do all of these things that we know and we don't know. So I think the biggest takeaway is that as long as I focus on actually bringing his truth and bringing in detail, and actually as an actor focusing on my artistry and focusing on my intention and my integrity, I think people will also see that through Carlos. I mean, you look so gorgeous right now. You look so beautiful, and and you understand there are things that you do that I'm looking right now that I personally don't understand, right? This artistry that takes place here. The
Right.
art that takes place with everything here, and the effort that you put behind it. You understand. Not a lot of people might see at first, right? So
Right.
it's the same thing, but people you allow people to appreciate that due to the effort and the love you have behind it, and I think it's the
Yeah.
same thing too, right? It's like. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's a person you're representing, but you're also representing your artistry and the love you have for it, and that at the end of the day, when you put your work out there, it doesn't anymore. It belongs to
Yeah.
the how they identify with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. We got another one. When was the first time you saw yourself on screen?
Ooh. Well, the very first time that I saw myself on screen legitimately was when Lone Star aired. But when I felt seen, I think was when I I tend to gravitate towards people independently of what they look like. And
Yeah.
I've talked about this so many times in many other interviews, so people that follow me may find this a little bit redundant. But I love Viola Davis. Viola Davis has my heart, and her fight, and her gravitas, and her elegance and her beauty. I've watched many interviews with her. They're so inspirational, but um, I think even though watching her through like how to get away with murder and plenty of other films that she's done. I think the moment that I actually felt seen was during an interview when she said that when she was offered the job, the role of Annalise Keating on How to Get Away with Murder, she immediately was just like, no, I don't want to do it, because where she came into through that notion, she was like, I said no immediately because they were looking for some television type beautiful black woman, which is light skin, and then she started listing all of the things that she felt why she didn't deserve that role.
Right.
Right, immediately saying I don't deserve it because you guys see me as something, but I'm not that. And
Right.
she said, I don't fit into the stereotype of a beautiful black woman Hollywood provides. And it wasn't even about being black and woman and what that stereotype is, but just the honesty. So honest about that statement that allowed me to connect with, like, oh, I'm not the only one that thinks that about himself. Oh, I have thoughts in my head and I have voices in my head telling me,
Right.
twice, not good enough, too much, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it all. No, I'm here. I'm me. This is what you got. This is what we're working with. And guess what? I'm plenty. So
Absolutely.
understanding that bravery and that confidence was something that I think I made me feel seen.
For sure. No, I love that. As far as like feeling seen, like literally and personally. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our next one is, why do you, or it's personally might be another question here.
Mm-hmm.
Why is LGBTQ education and support in schools important?
Oh, Lord. Because
Another hard.
you know, um, because we exist. We exist, and and there is this myth that all of a sudden the world,
Absolutely.
all of a sudden the world became gay in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, like as if the LGBTQIA plus community didn't exist back then, and I there's so much bureaucratic answers and political answers and to be politically corrected in this conversation, but I feel like
Right.
I think existence should suffice our history. I think our existence should legitimize the need to teach the world about our own history, which I think has been extremely censored and limited through a rather Anglo-Saxon point of view, a very a colonized point of view. I mean, it's well documented and well known in indigenous communities all throughout North America, Central, maybe even South America, that there were I mean, gender construct is indeed a form of colonization. That there is only a man and a woman, and there are a bunch of nations in the southwest in the land of what is now called the United States that were extremely free, gender fluid. A bunch of here in California, this dates back to like the 14th, 1500s, and there's this fluidity of gender that when the Spanish, the conquistadores first arrived here, they thought it was so weird how there were so many effeminate men and how so many women with masculine traits and whatever that meant, and whatever that meant for them, and so for you to deny those facts and those narratives to children who are in their formative years, who are in extremely vulnerable positions, because when they look at a teacher, they're whether they're aware of this or not, they're in a vulnerable position because they're being told how the world works, essentially, right? The school system, we're preparing you so you can go out, right? But you're telling lies. In fact, you're not saying anything. you're not making these children who happen to be LGBTQIA plus, whether they're aware or not, you're not making them feel seen. So these children are growing up thinking that, and I've gone through this myself, believing that they're inadequate, illegitimate.
100%.
Children, some children have to go through bullying because they can't hide who they are, and then they end up
Yeah,
thinking that unfortunately, ceasing to exist is better than existing than being who they are. So teaching children about the LGBTQIA plus community and its history provides children a lifeline, a source of pride, a source of love, and a source of kindness. And it makes them visible, and it makes their existence legitimate and not forgotten.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
just the importance is just visibility, it's just, it can't be something that's not talked about because it's something that exists and it needs visibility just like anything else does that you would learn. I know I just love the way you speak, so wise. Geez, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank
I love it. I just want to say before we continue, I want to thank everybody who's still watching so far. Thank you guys for tuning in for our little Pride cocktail hour. We still have a couple more questions. Remember, this is a no hate zone, hashtag no hate zone. So let's be supportive. This is to uplift everyone here on Pride Month. We are sending out hearts, no meanies. Okay. And I'm reading, I can see you guys are all sending love. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being supportive and for tuning in to listen to us. We're going to ask a couple more questions before we wrap up today for our first ever Pride cocktail hour. So, was there a defining moment for you? A defining moment for you as a member of the LGBTQ community? A defining moment.
Defining moment.
Take that as you will. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever that means to you.
absolutely. I think I'm learning also to be. So I'm learning every day how to be a better member of the community,
Right.
uh, realizing that there is always work to be done because there is always someone in need of help, and
Yeah.
whether that help can come through my work or through social media or quite literally physically if I see someone who needs help, stand up against hate that takes place. And I think I think a defining I think I don't think I have a definite moment of when I felt I don't know. I'm just gonna say I don't know because every day is a constant learning experience. I mean, this live also,
Absolutely.
this platform for people to see this conversation, to witness this conversation. Um, as you can clearly see through the comments, there are people that are love to be here and that support the LGBTQIA plus community,
Yeah.
but there are also people that perhaps don't understand what it means, and it
Yeah.
drives a certain backlash that perhaps might not be necessary. So I think that every day, as long as we put our foot forward, walk with our heads held high, and spread more love and kindness and inclusivity every day wherever we go. It doesn't matter where we are. I think this community is can only grow stronger, and it's not limited to the LGBTQIA plus community. I mean, it's everywhere, and every single community that one can identify with.
For
Um,
sure.
I think, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, it is. I would say it is definitely say it's hard to say like a defining moment because for me, I think that Pride Month, I don't even think it's like personally like a defining moment for myself. I think it's bigger than us. It's bigger than you. I think it's more, you know what I'm saying? It's just bigger
yeah,
than you as an individual. Sure, we can have our own defining moment, but especially in an important month like Pride Month, especially where it's so important to come together as a community, I think it's not really what's defining for you, it's defining for us as a whole,
exactly.
you know?
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So, next question. When you think of the LGBTQ representation in Hollywood, what is something that comes to mind?
It comes to me. It comes to mind that we need more, and we need more people of color in the LGBTQIA plus community, creating stories, directing
For
stories,
sure.
stories. I was recently asked a question in an interview. What kind of, why do you think, we don't see different kinds of LGBTQIA plus stories, like LGBTQIA plus members with disabilities, such as handicapped or blind, deaf, disabled members, indigenous members. For me, it's like, well, those stories exist
Yeah.
because those people exist, because those artists exist. We just need those people as well that identify as such in the writers room. We need people that have
Yeah.
the financial backing to support those stories that also identify as such, because they understand what that story looks like. um,
Absolutely.
More diversity. We need more diversity in front of the camera, but the diversity in front of the camera won't be sustained if there isn't diversity behind the camera.
Yeah, even I mean, I feel like even as far as like in the LGBT community, sometimes there's a habit of resting on what we know and what's comfortable, and sometimes I feel like there's like a glamorization of just what a cookie cutter story can be, and there's just so much more than that. There's so
Exactly.
much more than just sometimes it falls very like Hallmark original gay love story, and that's just not really how it is all the time, obviously.
No,
So. So it's
yeah.
not like we can always just kind of like rest on that because it's not reality. And I totally agree that it falls back on we need more voices to actually tell the story. If we want to hear them, we need the voices to tell the stories.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just like we understand that some people are creating these
See,
stories
they
simply.
get it in the comments. Diversity behind the camera too. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there are stories being created simply to check out boxes to say, hey, we're this brand, and guess what? We've done a gay story. Oh, it doesn't matter which story.
Right.
You know,
Right. For
you know,
sure.
we got that covered. So,
Yeah.
but right, it was 1 out of 500. But
Yeah.
that's, doesn't it? And for me, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, no, it doesn't suffice. Uh,
Right. Right. Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
no, I for sure think no. They're saying I can see it down there too. Yeah, I definitely think that not only as far as just the actors or and even as far as not even just like on screen. I have a lot of close friends who are dancers, and even within the dance community, there's definitely a lot of lack of people of color, gay representation, all of that. So I think it's just a little bit of everything because everybody has a story to tell, and it's up to us to elevate the voices so that the stories can be heard, because if we don't help them do that, it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
yeah.
So that's why. And again, circling back to how the one question we had for you was, what was the defining moment, especially during Pride Month? Again, it's not about us. I think it's about the whole. So we got to
Yeah.
kind of work together. We're in the great words of High School Musical, we're all in this together,
Yeah. No,
Oh,
exactly.
not the High School Musical
Yeah.
reference.
That's why it's been called a movement. It's not a moment. It's a
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
and so this
Big
um,
rainbow train. Hello.
yeah, yeah, it's a never ending. For me, I feel like at all conflicts that exist in the world, even if we see visible wars and visible conflicts, it's all due to internal conflict. I mean, these are humans acting upon their own internal conflicts, and
Yeah.
and we're getting to existential here. But what I'm just trying to say that um, trying to understand one another is actually more empowering than hating each other. You know,
Yes.
and you feel empowered wherever you come from. You feel empowered. Anyway, yeah.
No, for sure. No, I totally agree with that. We're going to go on to our last question. Are we ready? It's our final question for our cocktail hour. What is your hope for the future of diversity and inclusivity in Hollywood? Another
Uh,
another big question. Another big
yeah,
question.
I love these questions. I think one can always hope for the best, and
Yeah.
I think that we, you know, I sometimes don't like saying like, oh, maybe we can arrive at a moment in time where this, you know, this won't be a conversation or this won't be a thing. Well, if you study history and if you look back and you know, just the, you know, rise and falls of every empire and every civilized, every populations that are considered civilized, um, you'll see that there are mistakes being committed over and over and over and over, and we don't seem to actually understand and or comprehend or accept the difficulties and conversations that were taking place back then, because this I mean, nothing that we're going through now is new. Racism is not new. Xenophobia is not new. Transphobia is not new. All these things are all human interactions that is just don't seem to be solved. So where I come from, I think is more of a and I don't think I'm being pessimistic. I'm just this is just how my head works. I just think that, you know what, as we adapt and we grow stronger, the resistance to progress also grows, also learns to adapt. Also, you know,
No, I mean,
it,
it's just realistic for sure. Yeah.
you
That's
know,
why, as you were saying before, there's always work to be done.
exactly.
Yeah.
For me, that's the thing. It's just like I don't think there is ever one person who has not and will not feel inadequate in the many of the communities that exist in the world. I think the thing that we can focus on is to always provide a platform for love, for kindness and freedom, and inclusivity. And also awareness, right? Because as it's great, this life is amazing, and I could be saying all of these things and preaching all of these things, but none of these things will mean shit if I don't practice what I preach, right? So growing the awareness that simply because you speak it doesn't mean you actually practice. And I think if we all individually hold ourselves accountable for the things that we say and do, I think just the world overall can just be a little bit better and stronger. And so my hope for the future is that we can all grow into a level of awareness that we can just be better and believe that we can be better. Be hopeful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for answering all those questions. I know there were some big thing questions. I just want to say I really appreciate you coming on here, obviously, as well as Fox TV. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think your answers were beautiful. I think you have a great mind, and you really honestly have a great outlook on the work that not only has been done for this community, but what, you know, unfortunately still does have to be done. And like you said, it's always growing, we're always learning, and we got a lot to do. And Pride Month is a really special time to do that, because it's, you know, it's a really nice time for people to really feel their authentic selves. I feel like this is a really special time to uplift everybody within this community, no matter who you are, how you identify. It's just, the time is now. You know, it's 2021. We're gonna make it happen. This, I can feel it. It's gonna be an okay. It's gonna be an okay year. You know, fingers crossed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you pride is meant to be celebrated. It's meant to celebrate yourself, celebrate others,
Yes.
and to love no matter what. People were fighting for love, to be able to love. So love each other, love others, independently of your knowledge of them or not. Just love. Just celebrate that. Celebrate love.
Absolutely. All right, my love. And before you head out, is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewers still here? Anything else on your mind?
Just you know, just a thank you, Ariel. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much
Yeah, of course.
for creating this conversation and for being here. Thank you for everyone who supports 911 Lone Star. Thank you so much for all the Tarlos fans. You guys really appreciate. It's never been about Rafael. I mean, my opinion, it's never been about Rafael or Ronan. It's been about Carlos and TK and what they bring to the camera,
Right.
mean to people. The love
Right.
that there is not something that is love is not foreign to anyone. You know, love is not foreign to anyone. So thank you so much all to Tarlos fans, to Fox TV, and thank you so much, Ariel. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. All right, guys, everybody say bye-bye.
Take care.
Yes, take care. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Again, all my ladies and gentlemen, non-binary friends watching. Before